So before we start talking about it, my question is, if you could possibly go back in time and change one thing about your past, like, would you? And you have to take everything in mind, like how that would affect how things go moving forward, because you guys have to understand that every decision, every mistake, every error that you've ever made led you up to the point that you are today.
Yeah, I mean, that's the easy answer for me. I think I touched upon it like in one of the episodes earlier in the season. I would not go back in time, because whatever I might do will prevent me from meeting my wife and having my 2 daughters. Yeah.
I'm kind of. You go ahead, Bulls. I'll go last.
So I'm conflicted about this one, because I have a yes and there's kind of a no. There is one thing on this entire planet that I would change, and that would be to not put my son down when I did.
I knew you were gonna go there. I knew you were gonna. That was gonna be your answer, and I don't mean this in a very fucked up way, because I understand, like, my question is generally like one of perception, right?
Right.
And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna know your answer, because it probably would be my answer too. But imagine having not put him down then. It would mean that you would not met your partner now, and would have still been.
Yeah, see, that's why I said I was conflicted.
And that wasn't the
because even afterwards, like I've been through so much, but I always, in the back of my mind, always think if I could ever go back in time and stop that from happening, I probably would. But it would be very, very difficult to make that decision.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a difficult one, because it ultimately comes down to, like, the fact that, like, I mean, it might, honestly, it might not be, because you have to think about, as a parent, and you've been a parent, and it's just like, are you willing to continue to suffer for them?
Yeah. I guess can we actually pick when we go back in time?
As in like at what point? No, I'm talking about like at this point in time in your life. Mm-hmm. You had the option, go back in time and you change one thing.
Because I'm thinking, like, you know, like I said, like, to your point, Ricky, it's all a matter of perception. Like, if you think your life is pretty good, which is where I sit, you don't want to fuck up a good life. And yes, it could be better, but you don't know, right? You're taking a chance going back in time. You might fuck up and end up in the worst position. But if I could go back, I would probably pick right after the birth of my second daughter and invest in Zoom right before the coronavirus pandemic started.
I see what you did there.
Like a shit ton of Zoom, and then sell it.
I see what you did there.
For me,
I mean, that's definitely a good one.
For me, where I'm at right now in life, I'm pretty happy. I don't think I would change anything, because I feel like I learned something through every good and bad experience I've gone through. But kind of like Jose, I would go back and invest in Tesla when it was a penny stock and all they built was a little roadster.
Bitcoin.
And Bitcoin too.
But had you gone back and did that, like Jose's thinking about in a way where he went back only a few months.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really affect his future all that much. But in positions where, like, Marcus, like in your position, dude, like, I definitely see why you would be torn, you know, because you're happy now, but you were happy then. So you're switching one happy event for another happy event.
And I might not be guaranteed the same happiness going forward if I choose to go back and change that one thing.
Yeah, so that makes it, that's what makes it difficult. But see, Julio, like, for you, if from where you're sitting, that could fuck up your whole situation now. Because you might have had the financial stability, right? But that affects so many more decisions that you made.
I know because my path in life, what I've gone through in the past 10 years, would not be nowhere close to what I've done.
And I think what he means is based off of that one choice, you probably wouldn't have met, your girl.
No, I know that's what I'm getting at. Is I knew I would have been in a totally different social group after a while.
Yeah, he probably would have bought a mansion in Texas.
Basically, fuck us is what he's saying. Because he said I would have been in a totally different social group. Oh my God. He said I would have been in a total social group.
Wow. Somebody got
burned. At least until I sell my Zoom stocks, then we can be friends again.
when my stocks tank, we can be
friends. You would have walked into his country club and you're like, oh, fancy meeting you here.
Is it your first time?
Hear the dirt?
Oh,
right.
Damn, that's how you're gonna do me, huh? Okay.
He's gonna be like, you guys want to hear about Julio's one summer?
I was gonna make Jose my financial advisor, but that's fine.
See, he volunteered for services without even accepting. What kind of shit is that?
Some rich people shit.
I know, right?
So this entire question all derived from this idea that like space and time are relevant in the sense that as you go back and you change time, your space within that timeline is gonna change.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So like for me, like, geez. So for me, it's an easy decision. You know what I mean? Based on where I am currently, because it's an easy no. Like I wouldn't go back and change anything because it led me to this moment. But I wanted to hear from you guys because it's just that it's three completely different perspectives. You know what I mean? Right. To where I am on the cusp of certain life goals. I'm on the cusp. I've reached certain milestones. I'm on the cusp of reaching other ones, but they're all culminating to this point where it's like in making me extremely happy. And my points in time where I've experienced pain are like so far behind me to where like that decision doesn't put me on a seesaw like it does for you, Marcus.
Yeah.
Or like we're with you, Jose, where like for you it's like, bruh, if I could just go back a couple months, I'd be straight. Like, and then there's Julio where it's like, if I could go back a fucking decade, like a decade, bro.
But
you know what I mean?
But in reality, I've had a good decade.
And now that I think about it, like even if you attain the financial stability, it could put you down a path where, like, look at Kobe Bryant. Because he was so rich, he had a private helicopter, and that was the cause of his death for him and his daughter. But if he was a regular Joe, would never have access to a private helicopter, right, would still be alive today. Like that might be us too. We have a fancy sports car, we're reckless on it, and boom, that's the end of us. Yeah.
For sure, bro. No, for sure. That's why it's one of those things where, like, I guess I was reflecting on it today, and it was just like, Jesus Christ, like it's. And I'm not a very religious person, but it's one of those situations where, like, if you look at it from. You guys know me, I'm a big fan of space, so look at it from space, right? Like, as things have to be just in the right space, like, our planet has to be just the right distance away from the sun in order for life to harbor on this planet. Our moon had to be just the right distance from our planet to be able to control the tides and so on and so forth. But it's like, every decision that you've made has almost collided like comets in order to put you to the point where you are today and prepare you for that moment.
It's the asteroid that hit the planet.
It could be part of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was definitely fun getting you guys' perspective on this, because it is one of those things that sometimes I stay up at night wondering, like, how could things have been different by. It's the butterfly effect, right? But it's definitely one of those things, because not that I hate my life. I love my life. I'm doing great. Just next month I'm about to go whitewater rafting. So, you know,
Nice.
I'm expecting a baby in July. So, like, life is good. Life is freaking good. But it's just, it is one of those things, like, man, because you do think back on those times when you've had it really difficult. You know what I mean? And you think, like, Jesus Christ, like, there was a time where I didn't think that I'd be able to move past that.
Right.
You know, it gets darker than the back of Marcus's head. But
I feel like you've made that comment to him before sometimes.
I don't think I have.
And it wouldn't change it.
Sure?
And I wouldn't change that shit for a sec. But
You quit harping on it. Damn.
yeah, you're hanging up.
Damn.
I feel like you said it
Yeah.
before.
He has it. Now shut up.
No,
It's the Mandela effect.
the Mandela effect, bro. You're living in a parallel universe.
Yeah, I hate the examples they use to prove this. Like saying, like, have you seen this? Like, this looks like this, and you remember it looked like this. I was like,
Hey, fuck you.
Could have just changed it, right?
Nah, fuck you. The Ford logo never had a pigtail on the F.
Really? It didn't. You sure?
Apparently now
Here we go.
it forever has.
My bad.
Yeah, apparently now it forever has, but
Fuck,
it
Jose. Fuck.
It's like I was trying to go to sleep.
yeah, there was a time
Good. I don't have to do
when
that for another 45 minutes. Okay.
nah, but that's all I had for you guys. Are we all good?
We good.
See, senor.
Then tune in next week when we try to figure out, does Julio's kidney give out? Will Marcus ever find a good meal? Will Jose
Hey,
actually
asshole.
place a good bid on the next
Fuck.
boxing match?
Right.
I actually-
I die.
All you had to do was play it off, dumbass.
Yeah, it was I literally
Nobody else fucking this was true or not. It was a damn. Calm down, Jada.
Fuck it. Post a video like this.
well, now we can't. That's the point.
Well,
now we
you
can't.
can't 'cause I gave you
So-
my permission.
No, we can't, because we did this whole back and forth situation. So I'm gonna just do the ending again. You guys ready? All right, so that brings us to the end of the video. Tune in next week. We'll hopefully have a new bunch of questions that I might come up with. These guys always have amazing stories. Make sure to follow us. Check out their channel. I'm sure you can find them all on Instagram or Twitter. I know they're on YouTube for sure because they have a channel. Follow us, the Inner Monolog Podcast, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Till next week, guys.
All right, later, guys.